Hey guys, I hope you're ready to dig through the ditches, burn through the witches, and slam in the back of my Dragula. I'm Adam Cesare, and today we're going to be talking about Rob Zombie's new movie, 31. Disclaimer up front, this is a little bit different than, I guess this is 20 videos I've done now, all of which have been kind of recommendation videos where I talk about movies I really like for one reason or another and think you should see, and then I pair them with books that I like and think you should read for one reason or another. Rob Zombie's 31 is a movie I did not like. This is going to be a negative review, but what I'm going to hopefully do is I'm going to create a bad news sandwich where I'm going to say something nice up front, fill all my complaints and problems I had with the film in the middle, and then the other slice of bread on the other side is a little bit of hope and things I liked and stuff like that. So, many of you probably know Rob Zombie's new film, coming out a little later this month on VOD, I think, and then theaters sometime in October. I'm not exactly sure how the release is working, but they did a one-night-only Fathom Events thing where they played some music videos, they played the movie, and in some cases they played a Q&A and a making-of featurette at the end of the movie. During our screening, we sat at the end of the movie. We sat there for 10 minutes with the screen off, with a blank screen, with a bunch of people behind us, kind of waiting for the Q&A and making-of feature to start. But it never did. So our theater didn't play it, but I'm sure some theaters did because that's what they were supposed to do. So kind of an interesting way to release a movie, almost like a preview screening for everyone kind of thing, one night only, which is a really neat thing. So there's a positive. The negative is I've liked some aspect of every Rob Zombie movie. I know he's kind of a divisive figure in the horror field, but I was kind of just the right age to be like really excited for House of Thousand Corpses when it came out. It's still a movie I enjoy quite a bit. I love the art direction. I love the candy coloredness of it. It's not as good as his second film, Devil's Rejects, which is one of the two movies of his I legitimately love. I really love The Devil's Rejects. I think it's really cool. I think it's a really kind of fun, smart, sad, like, deconstruction of, like, the serial killer genre. Like, it's like what happens if we were supposed to like everyone in Last House on the Left, and then go on a road trip with them. So I like Devil's Rejects a lot. I love it. What comes next? I guess Halloween comes next, which is a movie where the first 2/3 I really like. I don't actually like it once it starts lining up with Carpenter's film. I think it's much better as its own movie. And then I guess there is Halloween 2, a little rougher than the first Halloween for me, but still moments I like, and I think it's generally an actual movie with like themes and characters and arcs and plot, so I like that. There's certain sequences I like. I haven't seen it since its release, even though I got it up there. But Lords of Salem, his most recent movie, only a couple years ago, the movie directly preceding 31, is easily his best movie, I think. I love it. I saw it in the theaters. I think I was the only person in the theaters for that screening. I absolutely love that movie. His relationship with his constant star, Sherry Moon Zombie, his wife, is really kind of reaches its peak there. A lot of folks aren't a fan of her acting, and I think she's fantastic in Lords of Salem. It's kind of like a night and day difference between some of her other roles, some of her other prominent roles in Zombies films. Lords of Salem was such like a breath of fresh air and a kind of like evidence of like, oh, this guy isn't a one-trick pony. This guy doesn't just do the things that people think Rob Zombie movies are, even if they like haven't seen them or have only seen one. Like Lords of Salem felt like, okay, like kind of a bold statement of like, I can go beyond this. I can make movies that are very different from your preconceived notions of what my movies are. And 31, the biggest problem I have with it is it doesn't even feel it doesn't feel like the natural progression of Rob Zombie's films. It feels like maybe even the movie that would get made before House of a Thousand Corpses. It's kind of almost a Rob Zombie fan film made by Rob Zombie. It has, by which I mean, and no disrespect to people who make fan films, a lot of fan films are cool and great, these great passion projects, but some of them are kind of just all flash, like, can we get Batman's cowl right. It's like, can we get like the iconography right? Can it look right? Does it look cool? Does it hit all like the cool parts of like Batman's grappling hook? But they kind of forget to tell a real story or to have drama or to like all the other parts of a fan production sometimes suffer when you get too hung up on like one cool, like throwing a lot of cool ideas in there and playing with your action figures. And Rob Zombie's 31 has hillbillies. It's set in the 70s, kind of, even though there are a lot of anachronisms. It's got his kind of normal cast of like stunt casting and people you haven't seen in a while. Even though Meg Foster's in it and she's great, there are a lot of like good people and cool, interesting, maybe glimmers of hope, but they're all in this stew of like, oh yeah, there are clowns. Starts out with a killer clown, and then we get two other killer clowns that are weird rapist killer clowns, because you can never have enough killer clowns, I guess, if you are Rob Zombie trying to be his most Rob Zombie-ish. What else? What are the other components we have? Oh yeah, that dialogue, which only one actor handles super well, but I'll get to that in a second. This is a movie that was partially crowdfunded, or partly or in whole. I'm not sure how that works. And a lot of people have problems with crowdfunding. I don't. I think I have backed Kickstarters. I like the idea of crowdfunding. I like the idea of like a pure like auteur experience. Like it's like, oh, we're not going to go for outside funding because we want to make this for the fans, which is a great idea in theory. But what 31 seems to do, and it feels long. I don't actually know how long the movie is because the Fathom events were like incorporating all like the music videos and the extra stuff when they were talking about the runtime. But it feels really long, and it feels like it has kind of everything but the kitchen sink thrown in there. But none of it coheres, and it doesn't tell any kind of interesting story. The story, as it stands, is a bunch of carnies. Oh yeah, we've got carnies. Those are another Rob Zombie staple. We've got carnies. A group of them in a van. They don't seem to have any of their other equipment, like, you know, rides and stuff like that, even though they talk about it. They get abducted by a group that is going to bet on them making it through the night. They have 12 hours to, on Halloween night, although there's no real Halloween element to it, on Halloween night, and they're going to be locked in this compound, and then they're going to have to face different killers, and the killers are going to, you know, either off them or they're going to survive the entire 12 hours. So it's kind of like a Running Man type, Battle Royale type kind of like sick game show, Night from Hell setup. But there's never a sense of urgency. The timeline feels all messed up. The plan itself seems all messed up. It's like if like the society that's putting on this game like got the world's best killers, why do they have so many of them waiting in reserve? Why are in prior years have this many killers been killed by the contestants? I mean, sense is the last thing you need to be worrying about in a horror film like this. It doesn't really need to make sense. It doesn't even need to have much internal logic, but it should have plot, and it should have surprises, and it should have things happen. There are like 5 main survivors, and when they get killed eventually, you never really care because you never know them, and they seem like they seem kind of awful anyway. Like, so there's never any like, you're never rooting for you're never rooting for the survivors. You're never rooting for the killers because the killers aren't that interesting, except for one. The movie feels super cheap. It feels like a script that was meant for maybe 6 times its budget. And the biggest problem that the movie has is that there's no sense of geography, because this compound that they're in for 31 is just a very anonymous series of hallways and places with steam pipes. Just kind of like, you know, VOD horror movie 101 set design and dressing, coming from a movie like House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and even the Halloween films that have some of the coolest art design, some of like the best looking, you know, worlds of any horror movie in the last couple of years. To have this be the place this is set, and to have this be, you know, the background for this big opus, this big epic action horror movie, makes it so that there's no sense of threat, there's no scares because everyone's just kind of walking single file down a hallway. There's nowhere some killer can jump out from because there's no sense of geography because it feels hamstrung by where they shot. And I think that's a budgetary problem. So, you know, maybe this would have been a better movie if it had twice the budget. But then at that point, if you're crowdfunding, you would have been asking twice the amount of money from fans. So it's a real catch-22, and that's probably the biggest issue I have with the movie. And here's that bad news sandwich thing that I was talking about. I'm going to talk about one good thing now. Character actor Richard Brake, who's like played heavies and henchmen in a million different movies. He plays Doomhead, and all the killers have head at the end of their names. I think is like an internal joke about how unimaginative the people putting on this contest are. But Doomhead has a million different like soliloquies and stuff like that where he's talking to people he's going to kill, and they're prominently featured in the trailer. And Richard Brake does a great job. I mean, he's clearly hamming it up, and he's clearly chewing scenery, he's clearly over the top, but he's kind of the only actor here that is doing this dialogue, which is it is larger than life dialogue, and it is like it works in some other zombie films, but it doesn't work here. But he's the only person kind of breathing life into this dialogue, and I found him great. Anytime he's on screen, he's great. You just kind of wish this character and this actor were in a better movie, and they didn't have like the whole movie's weight on their shoulders. Richard Brake in this is kind of similar to how I feel about William Forsythe. To give you an idea, William Forsythe's character in The Devil's Rejects, where he's like playing it out really high register, but you just really enjoy watching him because he's having this kind of like Shakespearean big experience. So I guess it's not worth seeing for that. I wouldn't say this is not a positive review. I'm not telling you to go out and see this movie because I really disliked it, which is sad because I'm not. A lot of times when I see movies I don't like, say like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake or something like that, like it'll get under my skin. It'll make me actually like angry because it's like, oh, you're wasting everyone's time. You're wasting all this money on this movie. 31 doesn't make me angry because I like Rob Zombie. It makes me disappointed. I'm a fan. I wanted to have a great time. Went to the Fathom events. I was like, oh man, we're gonna go. We're gonna see this movie like before most people, and it's gonna be like a really cool experience. And I was really let down. And I know there are some people that liked it, and this is not to take away from their enjoyment at all. I'm glad you liked it. I just wish I did. So I want to see another Rob Zombie movie. I want to see one. Maybe he's been talking about like doing like a Marx Brothers biopic, or the Broad Street Bullies, which is about the Philadelphia Flyers in the 70s. Those would be like non-genre pictures. I would love to see what he does when he does kind of a movie, like if he's reinvigorated. Like I don't, as much as you say during like EPKs and interviews and stuff like that he's like very proud of this and this is like best movie or something like that, and that he's like this one came from the heart or is like his truest like vision. I don't really believe that. I really want to see another good Rob Zombie movie, especially this is coming after his best one. I think is my favorite of his, Lords of Salem. I'd love to see another movie on that scale like that, with a little bit more of a metered pace, not like trying to be as crazy and as offensive and as gory as possible. Because even though this movie has a lot of gore and a lot of kills in it, it's all kind of digital blood. Everyone's getting killed in samey ways. There are like multiple characters that use a variation of like a baseball bat, or like a baseball bat with a nail through it. Like it's the same kind of thing over and over again, and it's not gory, it's not shocking, it's just bleh. So those are my thoughts about Rob Zombie's 31. Yeah, not the most positive review in the world, but I warned you up front. So for today's book recommendation, we're going to go from zombie, singular, to zombies, plural, and I'm recommending Stealing Propeller Hats from the Dead by David James Keaton. Now this is a collection of stories, but they're all kind of loosely linked by the idea of zombies, and they are, and don't click away, because I know I'm not a huge fan of modern zombie fiction, but David James Keaton is a super smart guy, writes in a whole bunch of different forms, writes in a whole bunch of different subjects. My favorite story in here is kind of takes place well after the zombie apocalypse, after humanity has kind of rebuilt, and they are selling zombie hands that have like a varnish or finish on them, basically as like personal massagers. So the protagonist, she gets a one as like a birthday or Christmas present, I forget. And it's a weird story, and a lot of this stuff is kind of weird and off the wall. But Keaton really knows what he's talking about, and his prose is great. And like I said, some of the stories are slightly linked, so it's almost like the Martian Chronicles of zombie collections. It's really great. Check it out. I really enjoy it. You can read that while you're waiting for my next video to go up, which will be me talking about something I actually liked, a movie I actually liked, a positive thing. All right. I'm Adam Caesar. If you like this video, hit like. If you didn't like this video, tell me why in the comments. But be nice and understand that I love Rob Zombie and want to see him succeed, so I'm not a hater. I just didn't like this movie. If you want to see more videos like this, check out my channel and subscribe. If you want to check out my books, my stuff, sign up for the mailing list, whatever, links in the description for the website. All right, have a great day, guys. Bye.